Stephen Law, CEO of the Senate Leadership Fund, American Crossroads. Stephen, good morning to you. We got a ton to get to, but just give us your 35,000 view of the results from last night as we chew on them today.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was not a great night for the Republican Party, especially in Virginia and Kentucky, as you've discussed. There's no way to sugarcoat it. In addition, Republicans have a continued problem with the politics of abortion, and we've been saying since June that the party is going to have to start to deal with that more effectively, or we're going to have more election nights like last night. I do think that the pro-abortion forces are able to create this choice between no abortion access and abortion access, and voters will go in that direction. To counter that, Republicans are going to have to talk about what they believe in, which is some amount of abortion access, in fact, quite a lot under a 15-week limit, versus absolutely no legal protections for the life that's inside the womb. Unless that happens, unless Republican candidates and politicians really start to talk about where they are and persuade people, they're not going to win on that issue.
Stephen, I thought that Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, tried to do that on abortion, tried to be out front on it. There were tons of ads. I understand 40% of the ads were about abortion in Virginia from the Democratic side. But that Glenn Youngkin was willing to talk about it. He was on many shows talking about it. He didn't shy away from it. And that didn't work either.
Well, I think he's got a great message on it, and it's one that does connect with voters. The problem was that in many of these campaigns, you had unrelenting advertising by the Democrats accusing Republicans in many cases falsely of supporting no abortion access whatsoever. And there wasn't a lot of response on the airwaves pushing back on that. The Republican candidate would run an ad or two, and very often they would deal with it kind of generically. You know, that's a false attack, but they wouldn't say where they stand. It's something that you have to dig into. You have to say where you are and why you stand for it. And that didn't happen enough to be able to turn back those attacks.
There's going to be deep analysis on this. Now, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but Ohio is different from Virginia. And Virginia is different from Ohio. You know, Virginia went between 1964 and 2008 not voting for a Democrat for the White House. Barack Obama changed that. And they've only gotten blue ever since. And I really think the anomaly in all this is when Youngkin won in 2021. It stunned everybody, but we have to recall, Stephen, that was 3 months after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was fresh on the minds of many people. And just a quick answer on that before we move on to some abortion issues here.
Sure, that was some of it, but and the other part about Glenn Youngkin when he ran 2 years ago, he focused just entirely on quality of life issues. It was not an ideological campaign. He was very focused just on making life better for Virginians, and people responded to that. I think when we get more into these very ideological issues, it's harder sometimes to connect with voters, and sometimes we're preaching to our own choir, and we don't realize that nobody else is listening to what we're saying.
Instead of talking about the Democrats, let me ask you another question. We're getting lots of messages this morning. Some people say that the Republicans have a fundraising deficit, and also others are saying that they have a get-out-the-vote problem and that early voting is a problem. Are all three true? Can all three be remedied?
Yeah, I think all of them can be. I haven't looked at the voting patterns yet to determine whether we fell short on early voting. We do have a fundraising challenge, Republicans versus Democrats. It's true across the board, whether it's low-dollar fundraising, high-dollar fundraising. Democrats are just able to raise a lot more money. And on the abortion issue in particular, one of the reasons I think they want to push that button is because it's raised them hundreds of millions of dollars over the last couple of election cycles. It's why we're in business. We do everything that we can to try to level the playing field for candidates, but candidates as well are going to have to step up and do as good a job as they can on fundraising to be able to compete in a general election.
Stephen, one last thought here. Looking at 2024, we did the research late yesterday about battleground states that are considering some sort of abortion issue on the ballot next November. Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Pennsylvania, maybe Iowa, maybe Florida in some form or another. Nothing official just yet, but those are the ones that are considering it, something we'll have to look at 12 months from now. Stephen, thank you. We could go on for hours, and we'd like to, but there's a ton to get to. Thanks for being
I could too.
Thanks for being on today.
Stephen.
Thanks. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.